Hello everyone, Andrew here, and welcome to Donkey Kong Country 1. This is just the most backwards channel on YouTube, I can guarantee you that. About 2 years ago, it was like summer of 2013, we started playing Donkey Kong Country 3, and then I think it was like late 2013, we played through Donkey Kong Country 2, and I believe that ended early 2014. So now here we are, 2 years later, early 2016, playing Donkey Kong Country 1, that is just so bizarre. First of all, I mean, it's bizarre for a lot of reasons. Like, why the heck are we playing the games backwards? It's a very legitimate question. And also, I can't believe it has been 2 years since we have played Donkey Kong Country on my channel. Just, I don't know where the time went. And wow, 1994. Time has just been flying by. It feels like just yesterday I was playing this game for the first time. Now, that might not be true. But still. Oh my gosh, I have some good memories with this game. I have more memories with Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, despite this one being the first one that I own. I've played number 2 and number 3 way more. Depending on, how you feel about the different games, you might like one of them more than the other. I usually prefer number 2 as my favorite in the series, and number 3 as my second favorite, and number 1 is kind of... I've played it a little less, as I just said, and I'm talking like a million times like I always do at the beginning of my Let's Plays. I'm not going to delete that one. Apparently this cartridge doesn't have a 100% file on it. I think it got erased at some point. But this is going to be a 100% Let's Play, and we're not just going to talk about Andrew's life story on the title screen all day. With World 1 being the Congo Jungle. But the point I was trying to lead up to is the fact that, as I haven't played this game as much as I have Donkey Kong Country 2 or 3, there are going to be a few secrets that I've probably forgotten about, so we might have to replay levels a couple of times to find them. Unlike in Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, where I was pretty much good on, like, where every single last secret in, bonus room, DK coin, and all of that were. But one thing that everybody who has ever played Donkey Kong Country 1 probably knows is that you can go into DK's house for a free 1-up, which is pretty convenient. Also down here, story is that, of course, Donkey Kong's banana hoard has been stolen by Rool, so we are going to go and beat him up. Because, that's the kind of thing we do when people steal our banana hoard. I was totally trying to jump on top of that and roll on it, but kind of failed. One thing we're actually going to have to deal with in a couple of the early on levels here, especially in the early on levels, rather, is that there's kind of a really kind of upper and the lower components. So, like, you can just jump across these trees and collect items, like, all day long, but then we're missing all the secrets and stuff down on the bottom, and I mean, people are going to be complaining that I skipped half the level as we go over the top. So some of these levels are actually going to have to require a bit of backtracking as we, take one way and then try to take the other way. In this game, you can actually play as Donkey Kong, which is kind of a funny thing to point out, considering that, despite the fact that DKC2 and DKC3 have Donkey Kong in their names, you cannot actually play as Donkey Kong in those games, which is kind of funny. Also, I totally botched it. We were supposed to bounce off of the guy to help us get up there, but can we still make it from further back? That's the question. Usually you can bounce on top of an enemy to get on top of the tree, but I think if we do it correctly from here, we can press select button to switch characters at any time, and I always find that Diddy's kind of the more agile one, easier to jump with when we're not running off of ledges. This is not Rockman No Constancy. We are not going to be running off every single ledge into the bottomless pit. Thankfully, not really any... Are there any bottomless pits in this level? Yeah, maybe a little later on, but see, Diddy can make these massive jumps, and there's normally like a 2-up balloon here. But because it was on screen and then we waited too long to get it, it floated away, because balloons are jerks. Yeah, 1-ups in this game will actually do that, but I swear that if you go up there, there will normally be a green balloon. For those who have not checked out my previous Donkey Kong Country Let's Plays, let me inform you that red balloons are worth 1, green balloons are worth 2, and blue balloons are worth 3 1-ups. And we will not be seeing too many blue balloons in this Let's Play, but if we can get Rambi back, we actually will see one a little bit later. But this Let's Play is just going so well that, I mean, he's already totally fallen down that hole and will never be seen again. Man, there are just so many things to explain in this first level that everything that could be going wrong is probably going wrong. So Rambi is one of the animal buddies in this game, along with a few other ones, and that honestly closed back up. That's honestly close back. I like DK's, the way that he holds his head. It's just like, I am just giving up on life right now. Oh man. Oh man, this is the best start to a Let's Play that I have ever had. Where is a barrel that I can use to open up that wall again? We have all of the Kong letters. They give you a 1-up, but we're probably not going to need too many 1-ups. They don't even save when you turn the game off. It's like, really, you could have at least saved the 1-ups. Okay, we're honestly beating this level and replaying it again. That was the worst display of anything in the first level of anything ever, I can guarantee you that. Because, just like in the previous games, despite the fact that there's no bonus coins in this game, it actually does remember if you have found all of the bonus games in a level or not, and that is once again indicated by an exclamation mark placed at the end of a level name. And since we failed so horribly and didn't get a single bonus game, that is not the case at the moment, although you can kind of, you know, get 1 billion lives by entering and exiting this level. You can start select out of a level, which I'm not going to do because we actually don't want to leave the level. So if you start select the first level, get that one up, bounce along the tops of the trees here, and I can now prove that I'm not just making up crazy stories about red and green balloons up in these trees. Just like that. Yeah, you can actually get quite a few 1-ups fairly quickly, but like I said, it doesn't save 1-ups, and it doesn't save bananas or anything like that. It's like two-digit numbers. I think they could have spared the room and, you know, allowed us to save that. Because otherwise, every time you turn the game off, you go back to having only 5 lives, which is kind of a pain. But we probably won't be worried too much about that in this Let's Play, despite the fact that I probably will be turning it off every now and then, since this, you know, is being played on real hardware, and I don't usually make my Let's Plays just, you know, sitting down, beating them all in one sitting. I don't think I've ever done a Let's Play like that. Ha, that's a lie! Of course, Late Night Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario World with Miles Luigi were all done in one sitting. Actually, that's a lie about Mario World because of the whole power internet outage thing. But I should explain this bonus game. In the first Donkey Kong Country, there are animal tokens. When you collect 3 of any animal's token, you will go to a special bonus game based around that animal buddy, where you will have a chance to collect a whole bunch of extra lives. And the point here is that we want to get 3 in a row. And I'm not going to look, we're just going to jump, and who are we collecting? We are collecting On Guard, the swordfish. And then you just kind of need to do a thing. And then you just need to remember that he comes after Rambi. And just like that, collect all, we didn't collect all 3, you get 3 in a row, and then you get 1 token of that specific animal. Kind of a problem, because since we are going to be turning off the game now and then, and not just playing the whole way through, I hope we do have a chance to collect enough to actually see a couple of those bonus games. Also, I want to get on top of here, because one thing I didn't know until many years after I had played this game quite a few times, is that if you jump on Rambi and then press A, which is the dismount button while you're in the air, it kind of gives you a double jump, or not really a double jump, but you get a little bit of extra height. If you do that while you are right against this wall, so you're holding right, you jump and you press the A button, you will go inside a barrel, which then shoots you upwards, and it will normally give you a 3-up balloon, but because I spent like 3 years explaining how that trick worked, we didn't get the 3-up balloon. But believe me, it honestly is there. Actually, it's gonna bug me until I show it, so we're running through that level again. But we're gonna cut. I'm not going to bore you playing the first level 3 times, although I will point out that it does have an exclamation mark there, so we'll be right back. Oh my gosh, because we played through the level 3 times, I accidentally got 3 of these guys. And the problem is I'm totally ashamed to admit that I forget what this guy's name is, because this is the only Donkey Kong Country game he's like ever in. So it totally slips my mind. I mean, I can name Rambi, I can name On Guard, I can name all those dudes. Actually, darn, I forgot the frog's name too. That is just how bad I am at Donkey Kong Country 1. I will have these names for you by the next part, I promise. I'm just the worst. I'm the worst at remembering names, not just in video games, and I apologize totally for that. I'm just so terrible. I'll remember you, I'll remember your face, I'll remember how awesome your personality is, but I'll forget your name, which makes me an absolutely awful person. I'm so sorry. And in this case, I forgot the name of this ostrich guy, who, this is a perfect example of this bonus game right here, where you just basically collect as many of these gold things as you can, and if you, wow, I forgot that time goes down so fast. If you're right against this wall, oh my gosh, and you collect that thing, every single animal bonus stage has a giant golden kind of token hidden in it, and if you collect that, it will multiply whatever number of golden items you have by 2, which is pretty good. So right there, it multiplied what we had, and it got us a whole bunch. And now we're sent back to the beginning of the level again, so I have to play through it again, and do all the 1-ups even come back again? No, they don't, so, darn it. We'll see you soon. Ha, so see? I wasn't... Did that honestly just give me 5 1-ups? I'm so confused. Okay. That is not something I remember. Or, wait, no. Or is there 2 3-up balloons there? Or maybe there was another one, I don't know. Regardless, that secret does exist and I wasn't lying. And oh my gosh. I don't think that any other Donkey Kong Country 1 Let's Play ever has spent 10 minutes playing the first level. But there we go. Add it to the list of things that are backwards about my channel. So before, I talk for another 10 minutes without doing anything, let's play Ropey Rampage. And this is a rainy level, because, they're like, there's not enough games that have a rainy second level. So we have to, do that. And there's another one up. I have a lot of one-ups. You can't check them by pressing start, but I promise you that they're there. One thing I actually do want to point out that I just remembered we should probably point out is that if you are playing as Donkey Kong, you can hold down and press Y, and he will slap the ground, and sometimes you will find secrets in the ground. I remember I didn't know that for, like, ever. And I think it was my friend Daniel who taught me that. So if you're watching this video, and you didn't get bored after the first 10 minutes of the first level, which I'm sure you played a million times because he loves Donkey Kong Country 1, yeah, just, you're free to brag about the fact that you're the one who showed me that. Because it's just so weird. It's like, who would ever think about pressing down and then pressing Y and just doing that absolutely everywhere, even in places that don't really have any kind of indication to find secrets. It is just so weird. Like, maybe this little dip here or something, like, yeah. So I guess if you do it in areas like that, but it's just like bananas. And I think that, having more than 30 lives by the second level is probably enough. So we're going to leave that as it is, and we're going to jump down this hole, which there's, no indication that you should jump down, and find a bonus game. Donkey Kong Country 1 has a few places where it's like, hey, you're never going to find this bonus game unless you, like, look it up on the internet, so ha! But then back in 1994, there, like, wasn't even really an internet, so I'm not really sure how they expected you to find it out. The way I found out about some of these secrets was honestly, like, just talking to friends at school. And being like, what else did you do? I think I've gone over this conversation before about what else was there to do back then other than talk about video games. So, I mean, not like anybody ever actually cared about the school part about school. So you just talked about video games all day, and that's kind of a thing that happened. The end. Also, here's another hole right here, but I think you can kind of see the barrel down there. So not as much of a jerk move, but still kind of a jerk move, hiding all of these secrets down holes that nobody will ever jump in. And I kind of need to look here. And I have absolutely no idea. I'm kind of leaning towards this one, but then it might have been this one or the one on the right. And it was totally the one on the left. I used to be really good at that, but today, because it's a Let's Play, today will not be my day. But, we only have 35 lives, so I think we'll be okay. Again, I could rant about the whole not saving thing, too. So it's not like we even needed that one. This actually will be a good test case, though. I don't remember if you have to beat or, like, win a bonus game in order for it to count as being found, or is it just enough to find it? Because if we have the exclamation mark, it means that we don't have to beat it. So yeah, we just have to find them, which makes it even easier than Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, because we can just instantly lose, and we still get the exclamation mark at the end of our name, thus adding to our percentage on the file select screen. But we need to slow down a little bit here, because we are going to Cranky's cabin, where he will give us all of the juicy Donkey Kong Country information we desire. Come over here and let me have a look at you. Enjoy this demo while you can. It can't last much longer. That would be so true if this was a modern day game. There would be like 3 levels, and then it would like force you to buy DLC, despite the fact that the original game costed like $60. So yeah, he gives you kind of hints at where things are hidden in levels, I guess, So if you didn't find out about it on the schoolyard, you could just like pray that Cranky would hopefully give you a hint. Otherwise, you would just have to wait 10 years until the internet was invented. I don't know if Donkey Kong Country 1 ever had a strategy guide. Maybe like an unofficial one, one of those ones just written by some random guy in their basement, since they couldn't make Atari 2600 games anymore. They all moved on to writing strategy guides. I get it, because, Atari 2600, everybody was making them in their basement because there was no lockout protection. Not that that stopped Super Noah's Ark 3D from ever being made, which I do still really want to get my hands on a copy of. I actually don't own it. But before I talk, and for another 10 minutes, Reptile Rumble. Everything's Rumble or Rampage or something crazy like that. This is another one of those places where I think Donkey Kong can just slap the ground and make bananas appear. I don't know why. Like, you could just waste your whole day doing that, but it'd be a rather unproductive day, I suppose. But what do we want to do here? I actually think, we're missing a secret. I know that they give you barrels, and then there's just like walls all over the place that you can break open without any kind of indication. A lot of time in my youth was spent just trying to use a barrel on every single wall in Donkey Kong Country 1 to break them open. There's still quite a few secrets in Donkey Kong Country 2 that require you to do that, but I think they're a little bit better labeled. Not all of them. I can think of a few that aren't. Also, this is a pretty great bonus game. You kind of just press nothing for like 10 seconds. Pretty fantastic. But I think Donkey Kong Country 3 took out that style of bonus game altogether. Thinking back to Donkey Kong Country 3, I don't think there's a single wall that you have to break open. Every single bonus game is hidden in a B barrel, which is kind of interesting to point out. But anyway, also zingers look different in this game, which is kind of cool. I like the way that they look in this game. They look more realistic than they do in the second game. Or I could just be making that up. Maybe I'm just completely delusional. And they don't look different at all. One thing that does definitely look different is the Kong letters. They're all gold and shiny. Unlike in Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, where they're like massive and spinning around, which is always kind of weird that they changed that. But I mean, I think they look better in Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3. But I still like the way they look in this one. Also, Donkey Kong Country 1 has a gigantic emphasis on using tires for things. You are going to see tires in like almost every level of this game. Because they are used to bounce on everything. And that was kind of taken out in Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3 and replaced with nothing. I guess Donkey Kong Country 2 has like floating hooks all over the place, which kind of take the place of that. But here we have snake guys all over the place. Again, names are the worst thing for me. So those are crocodile guys, and the other guys are snake guys. No, I know that they're the Kremlings. But you know, snake guy is just a snake guy. And man, what do I want to do? I feel like I've done hardly anything in this Let's Play. Also, the weirdest thing ever, which always annoyed me as a kid, is that you can enter Reptile Rumble from this side of the map, or from this side of the map. Like, it's literally the same level. Just look at the name. It doesn't change. It's like, it's the weirdest thing. I don't know why they did that. This video's been going on for 17 minutes, minus like 2 minutes that are going to be cut out, or like about 15 minutes. Should I continue? That's the question. But I think my plan was kind of to aim for about 3 levels per video. Worlds 1 and 2 have 5 levels each, plus a boss, so I guess we're going to try and do either 3 or 2 per video. But then after that, pretty much every world has 6, sorry, did I say 3 or 2 levels? 5 or 6 levels. Worlds 1 and 2 have 5 levels each, and then Worlds 3, 4, 5 have 6 levels, World 6 has 5 levels, so we're kind of try to do 2 to 3 levels per video. So I think we're going to cut here, because if I talk anymore right now without taking a drink, I'll probably pass out or something like that. So I hope you enjoyed that, despite the fact that the majority of this video is probably the first level. But I promise that next time, we're going to do Coral Capers, another level, and then the boss, and then we'll probably, who knows what will happen after that. But until then, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'm sorry I talk so much, but we'll see you next time. So thanks, and see you later.